Just sitting there, I'm going, what's someone
What? I
trying to
told her
tell
she'd
me
been
something?
replaced and we forgot to tell her.
Yeah, really.
Good morning, fellow commission members, staff members, attorneys, and guests. The date is Friday, February the 27th, 2015, at approximately 9:30 a.m. I'm Minnie Ann Lane, your commission chairman, and I'll now call to order the meeting of the Tennessee Private Investigation and Polygraph Commission. Let's make a note that this meeting was originally scheduled for Friday, February the 20th. However, due to the inclement weather, we had to reschedule until today. I'll request that Executive Director Cody Vest call the roll and verify a quorum, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. David Brown,
Here.
Larry Flair,
Here.
David Horton,
Here.
Rick Jones,
Here.
Minnie Lane,
Here.
Jerry Richards,
Here.
Dr. Rich,
Here.
Alan Russo, Walt Valentine.
Here.
Let the record show that Alan Russo is not present, but you do have a quorum, Madam Chair.
Thank you. If each of the commission members has received and reviewed a copy of the agenda, if there's a motion to adopt the agenda, please.
I'll make that motion, Madam.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Flair. Who was second? Commissioner Horton. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. If each of the commission members has reviewed the minutes of the November 7th commission meeting, I'll ask if there's a motion to approve these minutes as they are presented.
I'll make that motion, Madam Chairman.
Motion by Commissioner Flair. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Brown. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay, next on the agenda, we have the election of officers, and then the election of the Roberts Rules of Order. I'll ask our Executive Director, Cody Vest, to handle this item, please.
All right, thank you. But let me make a note before we get started for the officers to let you know that Alan Russo is not eligible to hold office. So I do have a script here, so if you just bear with me, I'm going to read over I'll read this, go by the script that I have here, then I'll just insert the names as we have the nominations. So what we're going to do is call for nominations for the chair of the Private Investigation and Polygraph Commission.
Nominate Minnie Ann Lane.
Do we have a second to this motion?
Second.
Filling in my little square, so just bear with me here.
Ready?
All right, I'm sorry about that, some technical difficulties. We are to the point where Minnie Lane was nominated for chair. Did we had a second by Mr. Brown. Do we have any other nominations for chair?
Move the
Have the
nomination
best.
cease.
Don't go any further. When you got the best, don't go any further.
Oh, all right, thank you, I appreciate that. Since we have a motion and we do have a second, we have a vote for election by acclamation.
So move.
Thank you. The Minnie Ann Lane has been reappointed as chair for the Tennessee Private Investigation and Polygraph Commission. Have you I'm sorry, I skipped ahead, I'm so used to. We need a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Excuse me. We do have Minnie Ann Lane as our as our commission chair. Thank you. Now we're going to have a vice chair. Do I have any nominations for the vice chair?
Nominate Walt Valentine.
Second.
Little squares here. All right, there was a second. Do we have any other nominations? We're going to take a vote for motion to be made?
Move we elect him by acclamation.
Yes, sir.
Second.
Dr. Flair? I mean, Dr. Rich?
Motion
Rich.
and David Horton
Horton
seconded
did
it,
the
and then
second.
Need to vote.
Now we're ready for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, then, Walt Valentine is Vice Chair for the Private Investigation Polygraph Commission. Thank you very much.
I'd
We
like to thank-
appreciate
Go
Ms.
ahead.
Lane's participation as chair for several years now, and we do appreciate all that. Mr. Valentine, we are looking forward to working with you as the vice chair. Thank you.
I'd like to thank each of the fellow commission members for your confidence that you've shown in me and re-electing me, and I'll try to do my best.
Okay, I think the next thing on the agenda is the Robert Rules of Order. We want to adopt those with one change there, that the board chair may vote. I'd like to, all in favor for the adoption of Robert Rules of Order? What? Do you have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Blair.
Second.
And I have a second by Mr. Valentine. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. A little bit. And I've already made the announcement that Ed Scudder is no longer our staff attorney after today. He will be going to, I believe, we will have a new attorney appointed. At this time, I do not know who that attorney is, but I'm sure it'd be someone who is just as capable as Mr. Scudder has been. And we do thank him for his service on the commission as well.
You must do a good job preparing them for a promotion.
Thank you.
Well, I'll call on our Assistant General Counsel, his last day, to handle the legal report if he would.
I would like to take this opportunity to tell you how much I've enjoyed getting to meet you. I just wanted to let you all know that the staff and executive director of the Private Investigation Commission and all the security programs are the best run programs in the whole agency. I've had an opportunity to work with several different programs, and it's really amazing to see
Amen to that comment.
I'll only see just a small part of what they do, but they really work hard and do a great. I'd also like to take this opportunity to introduce legal. This is Miss Regina Odom. She's been with us. She left for a while and came back, but altogether, she's got 12 years as a paralegal. I'm very lucky to have her, and I know that my successor will rely on her a lot. She does a tremendous job. Probably don't even need a lawyer. Probably just between her and Cody.
That was
they
just a joke,
could- That's what Cody said on the way down here. I don't even need you, and she's right. But because they don't like people that aren't lawyers signing these orders. Y'all have to have a lawyer, and I'm sure they'll find. Moving on to the legal report, the first item, case number ending in 4061, is against a website that styles itself America's premier resource for private investigator searches and lookups. They advertise that they do background checks by using licensed private investigators. The website states that they rely upon information, quote, secured by real licensed private investigators with access to information typically reserved for law enforcement, end quote. The complaint alleges that the respondent is in violation of TCA 62-26-202 and 66-26-204, which prohibits acting as an investigation company without first obtaining a license from the commission. The investigator determined that the respondent, has a current license in the state of Virginia and did have a license in the state of Florida. And among other things, the services that are offered on this website is an offer to obtain Tennessee vehicle registration information for a fee. Although the investigator identified 6 attorneys that appeared to have used the respondent services when they were contacted by the investigator, they didn't recall specifically having done that. The recommendation is to authorize a formal hearing with a consent order with a civil penalty in the amount of $1,000 for engaging in unlicensed activity in violation of Tennessee Code Annotated 62-26-202 and 62-26-204.
Is there a motion?
It's $1,000 is your recommendation?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we accept council's recommendation, please.
Motion by Commissioner Flair. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Who was that?
Jones.
Okay. Commissioner Jones seconded. Do we have any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carries to follow the recommendation of council.
Case number 2 is actually 2 cases ending in 0121 and 0122. The first respondent is a detective agency and the second respondent is the apprentice. The complaint alleges that respondent number 1, the investigative company, by and through its qualified agent, allowed respondent number 2 to work as an apprentice without first having completed his apprentice application or have it approved, which constitutes a violation of Tennessee Code Annotated 62-26-204A and TCA 62-26-207C. Respondent number 2 was hired in October 3, 2014, and the commission staff received the application on November 14th of 2014. Respondent number 2 had been working for more than a month when the commission received the application. In his response, respondent number 1 states that the apprentice, quote, did not do any physical PI work and to this date has never received any compensation from my company, end quote. The recommendation is to authorize a formal hearing with a consent order for a civil penalty in the amount of $100 to Respondent 1, the detective agency, and send a letter of warning to Respondent 2, the apprentice, concerning the requirements of Tennessee Code Annotated 62-26-204A and 66-26-207C.
Our motion.
We accept council's recommendations.
Motion by Commissioner Brown. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Dr. Rich. Sorry. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carries.
Case number 3, ending in 0171, is against a private investigation company, which the complaint states that the respondent failed to notify commission staff of a termination of a private investigator within 30 days as required by Commission Rule and Regulation 1175-01-.06. The investigator was terminated on June the 20th of 2013, and the commission staff received the notice on September 8, 2014. In response, the respondent states that the delay was the result of an internal miscommunication and that they have made changes to their policies to prevent this from happening in the future. The recommendation is to authorize a formal hearing with a consent order for a civil penalty in the amount of $650. This amount represents $50 times 13 months for a violation of Rule 1175-01-.06.
I have a motion. Motion made by Commissioner Rich. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Jones. Any discussion?
I have one quick question. In its reading, the miscommunication was within the company itself.
Yes, sir.
The allegation is not miscommunication with our,
No, sir, they're not.
okay, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Your motion carries.
Case number 4, ending in 7721. The complaint alleges that the respondent failed to notify the commission of 2 arrests within 30 days, which constitutes a violation of Tennessee Code 62-26-213, subsection 3. The respondent was arrested on June 30th for assault and on September 9th, 2014, for theft of property more than $10,000. The recommendation is to authorize a formal hearing with a civil penalty in the amount of $1,000 for a violation of Tennessee Code annotated 62-26-213, subsection 3.
I'll make the motion that we accept council's recommendation.
Motion by Commissioner Flair. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Richards. Any
Question.
Okay,
Yes.
go ahead, discussion.
What's the maximum you can fine somebody?
2.
Well, for this particular item, we can go all the way up to $2,000. But I think at some point this case will have to be revisited because I imagine there's criminal charges pending, and I imagine that at some point the commission may have to consider revoking her license altogether. But until that's adjudicated, we can't really take any action on that, on the indictments. But as far as what we can do, we can go all the way up to 2,000. But I think at some point, the commission may want to consider revocation of the license. But I don't think we're at that point.
Is there a provision for suspending the license?
Have to happen, we could put it in a consent order for voluntary suspension, but if that respondent doesn't sign that, then we'd have to go ahead and go to a full hearing. She has a property right in her license, and we can't take that away without giving her a hearing. And so what could happen is you end up having a hearing for the suspension, also a hearing for the revocation. Putting a voluntary suspension is something that the commission could absolutely do.
Yes. Do we have a date for the trials on either of these charges?
We weren't able to determine any dates that have been set.
If I may, Madam Chairman, to the board, I think we all might want to remember that this has not been adjudicated yet, okay? And that's one of the reasons of backing my recommendation, or my motion was for $1,000. $1,000 is going to, I think it covers the state of Tennessee. I think it covers us as being responsible commissioners to our profession by putting that $1,000 figure. And then once it's adjudicated, and correct me, counsel, please, we can always come back and ask for an additional fine and or suspension and revoke of our license. Is that not correct, counsel? And that's my basis for the $1,000 to because it has not been adjudicated. This individual could be completely innocent, and it's probably, with my 40 years experience, probably going to be a domestic.
But she's not innocent of failing to notify the commission.
Right.
All we're really
And that's-
considering today
that's
is the
issue.
failure to report those
Right.
arrests to the commission.
Call for the vote.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carries to follow the recommendation of council on this one.
Final case, ending in 0271. alleges against a private investigator. The complaint came from the investigator's former employer. The complaint alleges that the respondent failed to maintain records of an investigation in violation of Commission Rule 1175-04-.03 subsection 1, which states in part that the licensee shall perform services only in areas of his or her competence. And malpractice includes but is not limited to recklessness or excessive errors or omissions in the licensee's professional practice. On October 14th of last year, the respondent was assigned to perform surveillance work in relation to a workers' compensation case. The respondent recorded video of the claimant as he went about his daily activities. And as requested by our employer, at the end of the day, the respondent went to a local McDonald's to use the Wi-Fi. She downloaded the video from her camera to her laptop and also uploaded the video to a website called Dropbox.com. Unknown to the respondent, the video did not upload completely. She deleted the video off her laptop a month later, she deleted the video from her camera, thinking that she still had a copy on her laptop. And then on November 16th, she ended her employment with the complainant. And on October 2014, the complainant asked respondent, or told the respondent, I can't see this video, and asked her to upload to Dropbox again. And respondent discovered that the video had not completely downloaded to her laptop. And our recommendation is that this matter be closed, as it appears to be a contractual matter that's best handled through the civil court system.
There a motion?
I move we accept the attorney's recommendation.
Motion by Commissioner Valentine. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Jones. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carries to follow council's recommendation. Thank you. Okay, I believe now on the agenda we have the budget review. Should we take a break?
Yes, I'd like to take a break for just a few minutes. Deputy Commissioner Bill Giannini is not here at this time, so when we do convene, I may just drop down, if it's all right with you, Madam Chair, and hit on a couple of my
That'll be fine. We'll take a
segments.
few minutes break here.
Well, I just, they hadn't been adjudicated. Back and slapped the hell out of him. And he went down and got a warrant on.
Sure, your mic is muted.
I've been to Memphis. We worked numerous homicides. We had
Real quick, see what I got.
we had numerous homicides. We had a bunch.
You go, fussy.
Ah, fussy. I'm not fussy.
From Detroit to St. Louis to Memphis, Memphis. Yeah, exactly that. And the gangbangers, Memphis guys.
Ready?
We're ready. We'll go ahead and call the meeting back to order. I believe our Executive Director, Cody Vest, is going to jump down to executive administrative matters. I'll ask her to handle that, please. It's Exhibit B through F.
All right, thank you very much. We do have on the next agenda was the budget review with our deputy commissioner, but it's not quite time yet. So we're just going to go ahead and jump down to several things that I have. But let me remind you again, please get close enough to the microphone and speak into the microphone. And be sure and make sure that your vote is counted. All right, so now let's just go ahead and skip down to B, which is our disciplinary action report. We get this every month. We've gotten November here. And if you take just a moment to look at it, we don't have anything for Private Investigation Polygraph Commission, but you can see how busy Ed has been with the alarm board and with Private Protective Services too, because he is the attorney for all our particular programs. So the month of November, there wasn't any activity for your program. We have December of 2014, there was no activity for your program. Just a few in there for the alarm program. And as you can notice on this, we do now list these suspensions for the student loans and child support. Goes out on the internet under the disciplinary report. January 2015, we did have some activity. Took quite a bit of activity there for the alarm board. Little bit for the locksmith, and for private investigation, you did have a $250 civil penalty. And a very long list of child support suspension. Any questions on that? If there's not, we'll move on to the next one, which is the open complaint report, which, we were just talking about this. This is rather exciting. You had 6, and Ed presented 5, so you have 1. But it is still out, according to this report, still out in investigations. We give this to you every month. These are different activity codes that are used that tells us where the complaints are at any particular time. You see that says 18 is legal case received from staff sent to legal with or without response. That's what Hannah does when she gets the complaints in. We're going to send them out for a response after a period of time, 20 to 30 days. Whether we got a response or not, it's sent up to legal to be processed. Doesn't have any new one there. Don't have anything 32 for the formal hearings. I believe the last one we did, we had Attorney Ryan with us. Robin Ryan with that one. And the one that you do have is coded 22, which means it's going to legal for investigation. Once we get the complaint, send it up to the staff attorney, then it's up to them whether they're going to do the investigations or not, or handle it and just present it to the commission. It does throw our numbers off a little bit because the investigation can take a while to get through the system, get back in here to get presented to you. We're proud of that as well. We don't have any questions on the open complaint report. We have some changes here for you. It's under the TBI and FBI electronic prints and fee changes. We have been notified, you have a letter there that is dated February the 3rd, 2015, that says effective March the 1st, TBI will no longer be accepting hard cards, hard fingerprint cards. This is to the different agencies. We are one of the few agencies that actually send hard cards now. I'm talking about within the regulatory boards. We're the only ones actually. There were a couple other programs who had to do fingerprinting by state law and federal law, but they worked with me, and then we were able to get their statute to say that you must do it electronically so they would not run into this problem. But our laws are rather older, this is what, from 91, 92, this program, security guards in the 80s, and it says that you must submit hard cards, three sets. We received what we will call a full set, one with the TBI, one with the FBI, and one card already stayed in the file. Well, we have been trying to get prepared, and I've told you before, they want us to go paperless. We're doing our best in our office to obtain that, do that, but we've been waiting for this notification. We were no longer effective March the 1st. Even the fees have changed. It was the fee to get a full background check, $42. Now it is $38 to the applicant. That's really the only one that you're concerned with is the top one. The second one talks about volunteers. We don't do that. The TBI only, that was for, in our department, that's only security guards, unarmed security guards. Armed guards get a full NCIC background check. So I'm going to tell you what that simply means now. Until we can get our statute changed, when you send in an application for a private investigator or an apprentice, it'll have a set of print cards with it if they don't go and have it done electronically. We are encouraging you to have all your applicants, new employees, have the prints done electronically. Your individual can have their prints taken and the report can be ready before I can get the application through the whole process. This happens that quickly. So by the time I get your application or the individual's application, there's no fingerprint cards with it, or it's a little slip of paper that says they have done it electronically. We go out onto the system and there's that report and we're done. It happens that fast. Fingerprint cards is always taking several months to process. But now what we will have to do beginning Monday, if we get hard cards from any profession, one of the employees will have to sit down at the computer and key that information into L1, Warfield Trust is the name of it. Just like it was the individual sitting at home, takes 8 minutes to key one card. When I did it, and I'm slower, I'm sure my staff's probably a little quicker than I am, but it took me 8 minutes to do that. We're going to, after that information is submitted, we have to then turn around and do a Excel spreadsheet with the same information that's on the fingerprint card. Box up all the fingerprint cards with the Excel spreadsheet, and we have to send those off to Warfield Trust in Illinois. We will have to do that until the law has changed, or we are trying to do this, what I understand, by rulemaking hearing. We're going to try that as quickly as possible. We did try emergency rules, but this was not constituted as an emergency. So now I believe they're going to try the proposed rules, which should move a little bit quicker, but it still would go through the process of going to the Attorney General's office. You're talking that they hold them 60 to 90 days there. So you're talking about us months working these hard cards. So I'm asking and encouraging all private investigation companies, and they will be getting this information. We have a mass mailing going out to you, asking and encouraging you to please have your applicants do this fingerprint process electronically. It's cheaper and it's faster. Another little subject with your applicants. A lot of these private, I don't know if I need to relook at the test or not, but there are so many applicants that are not passing this exam. We have applicants in our office are ready to take it 4 times now.
They go back the second time, what's the percentage, do you know, that's passing it?
We can get you those stats, but we don't have it now. Tony's back there. I know she's got, at least 6, Tony? That's on, this will be the 4th time that they're gonna take the exam.
I want to add something to that. I have a employee that was on the dean's list, has a master's degree, and the kid is a bright kid. He's a young man, 26 years old. I can't believe he's not smart enough not to want to work with us. He failed it the first time, and he read for a week. and he just called me during the break. He finally passed, but he didn't tell me the score. I said, okay, fess up. 72.
70, you have to at least make a 70.
The
to
first
pass.
time, had he studied any? The books
Yes.
that's required?
Right. I think he may have spoke to Beth. I can't remember. But he was told by some people to read the book, Dummies for PIs. He memorized the book. But I can get more information as to what questions that were on there specifically that gave him problems. But that's just my story.
Ones that I've talked to that failed it said, well, I thought I could just pass it. And so then when they went back and studied, they passed it the second time.
The scores are ranging in the the high 40s and 50s for the first time. So somebody is not studying.
Well, I
That's
feel-
what it appears to me. But if we continue to see this trend, we're going to come back again. We're going to have to take a look at that exam.
I helped
Yes, I
me
did.
and one other person sat and devised that test.
Right.
Did not think it was that hard.
I didn't think the test was hard when I took it,
Well, it won't
it's
be the
been
same exam.
changed.
but
Yeah, it's been changed, yeah.
Yes, it's been changed. I just thought I'm off subject here, but I thought while I was mentioned it.
Before we get too far afield, a question for Ed Scudder. Can we take action unilaterally and make it a policy to have electronic fingerprints rather than card?
We can at this point because we specifically stated the rules. Was that we can't just unilaterally do that. We've got to have a change in the rules. And
What's the procedure for changing the rules?
well, what we're going to do, or what I expect will happen, is there'll be proposed rules. And with that type of rule, that's when you're not making huge changes to rules. You can just do them by publication, and they'll be filed with the Secretary of State's office. And if nobody asks for a hearing, there won't be a hearing. And then I think they have or comment. And then if there's not any comment, then they can go ahead and file to be permanent rules
Without-
And have we done that?
without having a rulemaking hearing.
Okay, and have we done that?
And not-
Are we going to do that?
Yes, sir, that's, other programs have done it. We have, that process has not been put in motion yet.
We do need to do that.
I thought we were gonna be able to do emergency rules, because this seemed like folks thought that it probably did not constitute an emergency under what the statutory definition of an emergency was.
Can that be revisited, excuse me, if I may, that can't be revisited with them? Is that waste of time?
That would probably be a waste of time to try to, apparently there have been some that were kicked back where emergency rules were tried to be filed, and the Attorney General's office said, no, we don't think this is an emergency.
In essence, directors just stuck with it for 90 days is pretty much what's happening.
Probably longer than 90 days.
It's ridiculous.
Probably longer.
But we tried.
Right.
Yes, sir, and one of the problems is if we'd had a little more notice that this change was gonna be made, wouldn't have been caught flat-footed. We could have, kind of had all these procedures in place. But they didn't give us a whole lot of notice that they were going to electronic only.
The third to implement it March the 1st. Not much.
I don't think we even got
We
that
didn't even
till-
get it,
I think
didn't
It was
get
dated February
About
3rd.
2 weeks into
David, I
February.
think we got it like the 14th or 13th, somewhere in there.
And, like I said, this is for all the 4 programs that we have. This is security guards as well, and that's where our volume of cards obviously come from. We're gonna visit a little bit later your budget, and I'm gonna try to see if once I do, what was I saying? Okay, once we do get this implemented and we say how long it's gonna take or the, problems it's gonna cause in the office, I will talk with the assistant commissioner about trying to get a temporary individual to help. But in the meantime, we will be starting this program as the applications come in on Monday. And I do believe our, deputy commissioner is here, Madam Chair, so I'll stop my presentation if I may. And if if you're ready, would you please, this is our, yeah.
Director Vest, are we at liberty to request from the new applicants that they do the fingerprints electronically?
As your employee for your company, yes, sir, you can have your applicants go and have their prints taken electronically.
But
That's
are we getting this information out to?
Yes, we'll sending this out as a mass mailing to you, but it's already out on the internet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Been out on the website for about a week, so.
Very good. Thank you.
Good morning, Chairman and board members.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here and good to see you all. Glad you made it to Nashville safely. But before I start, I would like to introduce the two fellows to my right. First, I have Mr. Bill Huddleston, who is our accounting director. Hello. He helped prepare this report for us. And then to his right, we have the new Assistant Commissioner for Regulatory Boards, Mr. Brian McCormack. So make them feel welcome. Thank you. Has everybody got a copy of the report? I'm going to run through this fairly quickly. Feel free to stop me at any point if you have questions about a certain item. This is, I think, the second year we've done this, is to come before each board and give you an opportunity to ask questions about your fiscal performance for the previous year, talk about what a great job your staff does, and to see what we're doing with your money. So, if you'll notice in the top right-hand corner, you've got FY 13-14, which is the last fiscal year. At the top, you've got regular salaries and wages of $56,014. I'm going to drop down there to total payroll expenditures of $89,696. You had travel costs of $8,035. I'm going to drop down all the way to your grand total of your expenditures of $117,050. Your administrative cost backs were $37,741. Total cost backs of $55,352, which took your total expenditures to $172,402. You had $195,516 in licensing revenue, which was a little bit of a decrease from the previous 3 years. Case and complaint revenue of $3,000. Your state regulatory fee, $9,270, leaving your net revenue $189,246, and your fiscal year balance of $16,844. I'll pause there. Any questions? Great.
I do.
Sure.
Can we pay our people more for being this effective?
I wish we could. And I will tell you, actually, one of the things that you guys may have heard about, talked about, is that the governor is proposing merit pay, which would actually, in effect, would reward the hardest working staff people for the great job that they do. And I feel fairly confident that Cody Vest and her staff would fall in that category.
Absolutely.
Speaking for me, I think with this whole board is appreciative of what these people do for us.
They do a great job. They really do. I think, and I appreciate the fact that you all recognize the great job that they do for the number of licensees and the amount of touches that it takes to get your folks licensed and the size of their staff. I think it is no small feat that they're able to as effectively license people as they have been. So thank you for recognizing that. So that leaves your reserve balance of $333,408. Of that, as we talked about last year, we are investing in a new licensing program. The system that we have now, which we call RBS, we've had since 1993. It was bought under Ned McWhirter, so it has certainly paid for itself, but it has also reached the end of its life Actually, it's beyond its life expectancy. It is now we are constantly working just to make sure that we can keep it working until the new system is implemented. It's a very fragile system. And so we were able, though, this core expense that you'll see at the bottom of $10,568 is your share of the cost of the new licensing system. It's about 75% of the total cost. We were able to take this money from your reserve fund rather than your annual current operating budget. And the next 2 years, you will see the additional 25% remaining from your cost of the core system, which will also come out of your reserve funds. So, is there any questions about that?
Why didn't they just take the whole thing out of our reserves?
Well, it just made a lot more sense for us to spread it out over 3 years. We just felt like it was a better plan to do that. We are, and because some boards don't have, the reserve balances vary across boards, and some boards it was more important than others to take that money at one time, or over 3 years versus taking it all at one time. And it was important that we do it consistently. And I would say too, the reserve fiscal year balance of $16,844, while it seems low, it is actually kind of in line with where we would like you to be. I think it's because it is, it's about 10% of your licensing revenue is typically where we would budget. I think in this case, I would probably be a little more comfortable if it was slightly higher. It doesn't leave a lot of wiggle room. You have a fairly nice reserve balance given the amount of annual revenue that you have. But I think, and the other thing would be the continued decrease in the licensing revenue, I think, is something that as a board, I think it's our responsibility to say, and I think you guys are aware, this is an opportunity for us to just say, hey, guys, we've got a trend we probably want to pay attention to and make sure that we are, responsibly budgeting and forecasting for the future. So with that, if there are not any, if you guys have
One question. I noticed that the reserve balance has gone up every year for the past 4 years.
Yes, sir.
So isn't that a positive trend?
Absolutely, it is. And I will say, and again, in light of the fact that you have a decreasing licensing revenue, that's more testament to the great job that your staff is doing and to the very conservative management of your money that they are doing. Cody's been able to produce as many pies with less ingredients. She's got her material costs. While everything continues to go up, she's still producing a good product. And I think, again, that's why they do such a great job. Because when, in fact, you're decreasing, they're actually continuing to put money in your reserve fund. So, we do, too, very much. Any other questions? Well, all right. Well, we appreciate you guys again, and thank you for the work that you do. I know they're not building statues for you anywhere out across the state, but it is a great service to your state, and on behalf of the commissioner and the governor and the department, we appreciate you.
When are they going to propose the statute?
Well, we're trying to get your reserve balance up just a little bit more. We can pay for it over 3 years.
I prefer a bonus.
Get out here.
Thank y'all. We really appreciate you. And thank Director Vest and her staff.
And report that while Cody does not yet walk on water, she can take a hot dog and Coke and feed the crowd.
Absolutely can. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Is that biblical?
Yes.
It looks a little bit like it.
That's in the second chapter of Jude.
Be safe.
All beat.
Yeah.
Okay.
I appreciate them coming.
All right, we thank the deputy commissioner, who used to be my direct boss. Now, Brian McCormick is my direct boss now.
Believe we
Who I
left off
report
at
to.
legislative updates.
Yes. No, we're not ready. We're not finished yet. Let me get to pull my little stuff back out here. Did we have any other questions about the changes for the TBI? We understood that. We're asking that we'd have all this information done, these fingerprints done electronically. And I might add, your program is one that most of the prints are coming in electronically, the information. Now we're going to go down to Exhibit E, which is something brand new as well. That's your citizen verification requirements. This is a federal mandate. Everyone has got to tell us whether they are a citizen or not. Every applicant. This form has to be filled out. The first sheet is an instruction sheet. The second page, Beth, want to put that up there? This first sheet is instruction sheet. We'll go over that in just a moment. The second sheet is the actual sheet the applicant fills out. The third sheet tells us what the government says we will accept. So on page 2, it says, I hereby attest on the penalty of perjury that I am, and you select one of the three. A United States citizen, just check it. A qualified agent is defined in Tennessee Code annotated 4-58-102, or a foreign national not physically present in the United States. I personally have never run into one of those. But you fill this, for everyone must fill this out. You hire a new applicant, and this is being sent out to each company as well. You hire a new applicant, this must come in with the application. The application will not be processed completely unless this is with the application, or if we have to, we'll send notification that we have to have this. If we do not get it, we will close the file. Now, what documents, your program's a little different from some of the other ones as well. So it says here on page 3, what will you accept? A valid Tennessee driver's license. Well, I am just really surprised how many people give me a photo ID that's not valid driver's license. And my first question is, did you drive here today? Usually they do. But we want a valid driver's license. All you have to do is make a copy of it. If you do have an alien, a resident alien, we need a copy of that card. We need the front and the back of the card. We have to be able to read the numbers in case we have to verify it through the SAVE program. Are already citizens. I haven't seen very many applications come through that are foreign nationals or even the resident alien card. But I just wanted to stress to you, if you take at your leisure, look through this, keep these papers in your office. You can make copies of them. It's out on the internet as well. And make sure that they're sent in with every application. This is another document that is slowing down the process of the applications if we do not receive the document. We're only going to ask for this document hopefully one time. You got 15 days in order to get it in here to us, so please, it can be faxed in, it can be mailed in, but it's better if it comes in with the application.
Is this federally mandated as opposed to state?
Don't have any other questions, we'll go to the legislative update. This is something new. Not new. This is something I tell you every time we meet to give you an update on our legislation. I am not aware of anything that's on the Hill that will affect private investigators this year so far. I have not been given any bills. I haven't seen any amendments come down for private investigators. I haven't even seen any for polygraph. Are you, Beth?
I haven't seen anything but the one, we haven't had any legislation yet.
Yeah, so we haven't seen it, so I'm just bringing that to you. But what we did include in here, Arkansas has made a drastic change to their policies. We've included this with you. They have abolished their private investigation commission. And they also do, if I'm not mistaken, security.
And alarms
Yes,
and
sir.
polygraph, but they got rid of all of it.
Yeah, the Arkansas Board of Private Investigators and Private Security Agencies established by the Private Investigators and Private Security Act is abolished and all its powers and duties, da, 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 da. So what they have done is abolish their board.
Put that under the control of the Highway Patrol.
Already,
It's already,
Highway
under
Patrol
the-
directs a bunch of their stuff already.
right.
Yeah.
So they just gotta wait, and then they're putting it in, the Highway Patrol is gonna be taking care of that Department of Safety, I guess is what it's called there, but, this was what would happen, when I have to go to the Hill, if you're in the red for several years, and we go to the Sunshine, this is what the Sunshine Committee would do. They would actually abolish the program.
this is how they got think about it.
Right. Yeah, Beth did have a good point. We did go to the Hill, the Polygraph Commission, that Polygraph Board, at that time was being abolished. But instead of abolishing them, they did agree to put them with the private investigators, hence Private Investigation Polygraph Commission. So they just took the two and put them together.
Worked.
Yes, it has, works quite well, we think. I'm gonna touch up on that budget for just a second. I had briefly talked to a couple of you. We are seeing a trend in the industry. I'm gonna be blunt about this. When I had the meeting, I said, the old gumshoe private investigator is dying out. Literally, they're dying. You got the younger people coming in, where they're all computer savvy. You got individuals sitting at home on their computers, looking up everything they think they need to know. Some of them probably stepping over that line for private investigators, but you can find almost what you need on the computer now. Or some of them are going with bigger companies. So we're not having that flux. We used to have, the trend was, we would get as many new ones as we were losing renewals. And that $16,000 sounds fine, but we are getting dangerously, which I bring this up at every meeting we have, I'm just letting you know again, I may have to come back to you and tell you that we need to raise fees. And I'm going to ask you at that time to raise the renewal fees on private investigators. It'd be very hard for me to go to the Hill with the governor and say, I want to raise the fee to bring someone into this industry. We're not at that point yet. $16,000 is not a big blanket there. What we do with we have the alarm board, the locksmith program could not sustain itself, so it has been placed under the blanket of private protective services. You don't have that blanket, you're out there on your own. But in our office, it's very hard for us to say, no, you can't use that envelope, because that envelope has all 4 programs on it, but so each program has to pay for that piece of the envelope. So whenever I see that we don't have enough on this program, I will go over to this program. If I need to order supplies and you don't have a lot of money left under that blanket, I go over here to PPS and get, well, we just move it around the best we can because we're all together. But you will have to be self-sustaining, and we are getting dangerously close to that. And I know you get tired of hearing me talk about this, because I tell you every year this. But $16,000, well, we're doing pretty good. We maintain pretty well there. But I just want you to see the trend. If you looked at that budget, every year for the last 4 years, this has gone down. From the gentleman that was sitting here, Bill Huddleston, told me, but he didn't tell me how many years. But then I'm gonna say within the last 4 years, we have lost at least 600 licensees. We only have, what, 1,400, 1,600? Well, I've been kind. Yeah,
I
you,
don't think they've got more than 1,100 active PIs right now.
Yes, sir, Mr. Richards.
I don't understand, if the reserve is going up
Yes,
every
sir.
year, why do you need to?
We are
increase
not,
the
I
fee?
cannot touch those reserves. That line is not, the line that you see up there at the top where the employee is, there's a black line, and go, anything above that line, we cannot touch. Anything that comes below where the net is, I have nothing to say about the reserved. And they're going to be using whatever reserve we have left, obviously, for the computers, the new computer system. That is a question we can ask Bill Huddleston, he could come back and get another meeting and explain that.
Cody,
I don't know the answer to that.
what kind of applications numbers have we got coming in?
But how many do we get a month? PIs.
These people that are
No, we don't get 10 a week, that'd be 40 a month. You don't get 40 applications a month. According to what Pat Gillespie gave to me for the statistics, to me, it was looking like we weren't getting more than 10 a month.
those are passing.
Well, eventually, hopefully, but for the first go-around, less than half are passing that exam the first time.
Are they all coming back and taking them again, or they just?
Yes, some
drop
of them,
forgetting
like I
it?
told you, I've got several, about 6 of them right now is on the 4th try.
And the scores generally, if they pass, are in the low seven.
But not,
Very few make 80 and 90s.
If I may, Madam Director, it's been a long time since I've hired anybody or whatever, but if they apply for an application, it's $250 for the application. They take the test and they pay that fee, and then if they fail, there's another fee on top of that.
yes, they have to pay for that exam every time they take the exam.
take it.
They pay that, not to us, that goes to.
That, yeah, but that's not any of our revenue whatsoever,
No,
is that right?
no, it's not.
All right. Once the test is passed, every 2 years, a renewal is another $250 per individual. Is that?
No.
It's 100? The 250 is the initial, and it's
Yes.
okay.
250, 500.
Is it, can this board, do we have the authorization as board, commissioners, to get that up or down, or do we regulate that, or does it have to come off the hill?
That is, that'd be a law change. That would, it wouldn't. A rule change?
We increase the renewal fee.
Oh, okay.
Just to increase,
Wait.
increase?
Well, it's in the rule, and we'd have to do a rule change, and all our rules are reviewed by the Government Operations Committee,
Right.
and they take a very dim view of any fee increases. You have to show them that you really need it, like Director Vest has been doing, how the trend is and why you need it, because they just don't like raising fees on people.
Right, or
In
I'm
any
sorry,
program.
General, excuse me. What's the process for the director and her staff to present that to this board? This board would yay or nay. If we yay and it goes up, are we talking another 90 days, 6 more months?
It would be at least 90 days.
That's what she said, that she would be bringing it to us perhaps if it got to that point.
I'm gonna take a look at, again, I'll be working with Bill Huddleston. If we're going to do the rules for the fingerprinting and we see that this might be necessary, but we cannot wait until you get down to a zero balance or that close and you're already red, because then you have to go to the hill. And it's gonna take that much longer to get, under normal circumstances, to get a fee increase. You're looking at 1.5 to 2 years just to get that done. So you could technically be in the red for several years. You're not there on paper right now. I'm just trying to explain to you, there is a trend. There's a trend in all of the programs with technology the way it is now today. And I'm just preparing you for when I do have to come back to you and say, and I've been telling you this is what we must do in order to keep this board self-sufficient, especially since what happened in Arkansas. I certainly hope that's not a trend as well.
Was
We will be
Arkansas
watching
changed
it.
because of the budget?
Not that I'm aware of.
Why did they change?
I do not know that answer. I didn't study, I just looked at the material that they sent, but I didn't talk to anybody in Arkansas on that.
And opposed it, evidently.
Okay, we can move right on along. I'd probably stay too long on that subject. Legislative update there. Now we're gonna, if it's okay, we'll just go right into the application review. The first one is Exhibit G. This lady wants us to reconsider our in-house denial. We denied this lady for a material misstatement, which simply means she didn't tell the truth on the application or didn't answer the questions correctly or misunderstood what the questions were, however it's worded. You'll see we have her application with that front sheet there that you have tells you that she was denied on 9/25/14, and she is appealing that denial effective 10/31/14. The next page will tell you what her offense was and why she was denied, what she disclosed and what she failed to disclose. She did tell us this time, the application, next sheet is page 3 of the application where what she disclosed, as you can see, I think says dog at large, was not like anything that we actually found back on her application when we ran it through the TBI and FBI criminal record. She does have a letter here, and keep going by, you'll see an email in here asking us for that and she's trying to explain to you why she did not answer, or why she answered the question the way she did. You can see she was previously licensed, she let that expire, had to reapply, she was first issued in '02, and her last renewal was in, she expired in '08, now she's coming back. And I don't believe that application's been changed since then, so the same questions were there about her criminal background. That's all it was. She was denied, that's what she was denied for, is that she didn't put it on the application. And then you do have some paperwork there. Mm-hmm. You have her request there for the appeal, telling her what she can do. And we do have a letter here. I thought we had a letter from the company. Just have the copy of the letter that we sent to the company about the denial and the appeal process. If you want to take a few minutes to look that over. Yes, she was, we were scheduled to be here last Friday, but due to the weather, of course, it was canceled. Well, she was prepared to be here, but unfortunately, she could not be here herself this week. So we said we would present her material for her.
Did she give you anything other than what's in the record here?
No, so you've got everything I have.
Well, I went back and found that and found her original application, and she did disclose it on her first application, which came in.
Two?
Madam Chairman, but page 3 is, who compiled that? Is that something she compiled for?
Page 3, are you talking about where it said for the private investigator license application,
Yes,
page
ma'am.
3? Well, that's actually the application that she signed. That's page 3, just to show you how she answered the arrest question.
Right, but that's what she actually
That's what
filed.
she wrote, yes, sir.
Do we have the results from Massachusetts of, and does that correspond with 3? Or am I premature asking?
This first application, all she said was dog at large. That doesn't match up to what the rest of it.
That's what I'm saying.
Went. So that's why we said, I'm sorry, no, you made a material misstatement. You forgot all this other information.
I'm confused here. When was this dog at large was in '05?
She put that on the app we got.
First application.
this
First
year.
application?
She's put that on all applications. What she neglected to put on the app recently received were the charges from 91 Hopedale, Massachusetts.
Which
Go
if
for it.
you see that on the, the additional, you have another page 3 in there, the application for the new application that she submitted.
She submitted that with her appeal.
What-
Did answer
where
the
she
question.
completed the information correctly and sent the court record.
Was that on the first application in Massachusetts?
No,
Years ago, yes.
we're not
Oh,
talking
two.
about that. We're
But the
talking about,
recent app, no.
That's what's in front of us now.
right, she made an application recently, and we turned her down and because of material misstatement. She has turned around and submit, like everybody's required, to make a new application. That's what this other page is, where she says yes, and she gives you the information about her arrest in 91. And then you have the court documents to go with that. And if I'm not mistaken, they were dismissed, she just didn't tell us about them.
That's the questions. We're getting ahead of ourselves. Do I have a motion on this?
I'll make a motion that she did not give us the information on this, and that's what's in front of us, and I think that we need to comply with what the board did. I mean, what the executive director's office did, and that.
There's a second to that.
I'll second that.
Okay, we had a motion by Commissioner Flowers, second by Commissioner Horton. Now, discussion, and I believe Commissioner Richards has a question.
I don't have a question.
Okay.
I have a question.
All right, go ahead, Commissioner Jones.
What has the board done previously in a situation like this? For example, reading company ran a background, and they said that they didn't find anything. I'm not privy to what has been ruled on in the past, and I'm just looking at the interest of consistency is in regards to this. Like, for example, did someone previously have this happen here, and how did the board rule?
I don't know that we've had this exact happen, or have we?
This is actually one of the very few appeals we've ever had. I'll explain that a little bit from Commissioner Jones. Usually whenever you're running, the company runs the background checks, they're only getting that information from 7 to 10 years. We see everything law enforcement sees. This is what hangs up a lot of people. They're told, you don't have to put anything down that was 10 years old or something of that nature. And that's probably what got her in this instance. It's not what she did, because all that had been dismissed. She just failed to put it on the application, and we denied her. She has an appeal right. She did that, and she's supposed to be here in person, but due to the weather, I explained all that. So this is one of the very few appeals that you've had. So you can either say, yes, we're going to accept her first application that she made with her explanation and with this new material that she gave us, or you're going to say no, and she will have to reapply and give the information. Right, and you hold her out for 6 months before she can reapply. So that's your options.
Well, I believe the application's quite explanatory. It does not say run your own company and see what shows up and only put that down. It's asking the question, have you ever been charged?
Previous license expire.
2008, I think's what it says here.
Yeah. I kind of share the commissioner's feelings. However, that having been said, if we vote in favor of the motion that's on the floor, in all likelihood, 6 months not going to kill her. But my personal opinion is, if she were trying to hide anything, she wouldn't put it down the first time. But I likely, I will go whatever the commission thinks. But I don't think she was pretending to hide something. But the other commissioner said, she should have written it down. She must not keep track of her own life.
Well, she said in her letter, I did not disclose the prior legal issue, which she listed on the first application, because her company owner said there was nothing showing up.
Well, I have a problem with a company owner trying to decide what she ought to put on the application. But anyway.
That's why I explained to you, most companies, the information most companies get if they do it themselves.
Who was the
motion.
company owner?
Okay, go ahead.
Look,
They right out there on there, the letter I sent out was to John Cook and Associates out of Cleveland, Tennessee.
Got a motion on the floor in a second. Motion was made by Commissioner Flair and second by Commissioner Horton.
One other comment, Madam Chairman. She'll have, within 6 months, if we rule today that she's denied her license because she did not apply correctly as the rules state, 6 months she can reapply.
6 months, she must wait 6 months to reapply, yes, sir. She's not
And-
eligible to work.
And if she saw fit, the board would probably see her here and we could approach and ask and so
If
on.
she answers the question correctly, you will never see the application again because the offense was
Of course.
dismissed and its state be taken care of.
And she's
Call
got
for the
6
question.
months from the date of denial, which was September 25th. Action today.
Nowadays.
I call for the question. We got a motion.
So
So
you're
she can
saying
reapply in
March.
March.
She's
Yeah,
eligible.
she'd be
Yeah.
eligible to reapply next
So
month.
she can reapply, yeah. Did you have another question?
No, that was my question.
Okay.
When is she eligible to reapply?
Now was September, correct?
Our denial for her application was in September.
It's March.
Reapply right away.
We're not penalizing her.
No.
Okay,
Armed with that knowledge, I'm ready to vote.
okay. All in
But the only-
favor?
Excuse me,
Oh,
but
wait
the
a
only thing is, for her to reapply, she has to pay the fees again,
When,
do the fingerprints again.
Yeah.
The
Thing is,
exam would still be in place.
this arrest that she was arrested for, that's not just something you'd forget, I don't think.
No, but,
I understand it was dismissed, but that was a fairly significant arrest.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
so the appeal has been denied. She must reapply. All right, thank you. Let me write that down for her. All right, we'll move on now to Exhibit H. This is for an application review. You have there on the second page of, well, the first one is the exhibit. On the page 3 of the application, it does list were criminal charges filed against you. The answer is yes, and they have listed the charges. That's not why this is before you today because of the charges. You have a letter or about the both incidents attached to that, if you take a few minutes to read that. On the application, the individual was found guilty and received 7 years.
I'll ask diverse motion.
I'll make a motion that he be denied.
Motion by Commissioner Flair, second by Commissioner Richards. Any discussion? Favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carries.
Applicant will be denied. And then this individual will have the right to up the appeal process. And then he will he'll have the opportunity to, if he so chooses, to come before this board.
I asked council a question. I'm a little fuzzy on my recollection, but our laws require am I right in remembering 5 years? Is that the timeline, the rule? 5 years? And this ended in 1999. I have a dim view of anybody that's been a convicted felon. I believe everybody have a second chance, but I agree with the motion and I voted for it, but he will appeal it, I'm sure.
The individual has the right to do so.
Yeah.
And then, like I say, then if there is any other questions, he will be coming for the board commission. Madam Chair, that does end my presentation.
Okay, following the agenda, next is the education report. I'm requesting that our administrative assistant, Beth Smith Bell, handle this if she would, please.
Hey, during the Education Committee meeting this morning, recommendation was to approve the courses that were submitted. Do you want me to read these into the record and then one of the Education Committee members can make a recommendation to approve? And if anybody has any questions, we'll answer them after I read these into the record.
I believe that would be best.
Okay. I've got the Lincoln Memorial University Duncan School of Law Symposium on National Security and Digital Surveillance in the U.S. It was held on January 30th, 2015. It was a 6.5-hour course. I've got the West Virginia University Fire Service Extension Fire Investigation Level 1. It was March 16th, 2014. It's a 16-hour course. Collin County Fire and Arson Investigation Association Fire Dynamics Train the Trainer, October the 13th through the 15th, 2014. It was 24 hours. Class and Buck Seminars has submitted a new 12-hour online seminar, Understanding Body Language. DeVan and Associates Online Seminars has submitted 4 2-hour seminars, Accident Investigations, Locate Witnesses, Principles and Ethics, and Report Writing Outline. Rick C. Mullinax has submitted a 12-hour course on how to develop and write a protection plan and combat defensive tactics for survival. The 2015 National Association of Document Examiners is having a seminar here in Nashville. They have requested approval for a pre-conference seminar, How to Be an Expert Witness. It's going to be offered Monday, March the 30th. It's an 8-hour course. National Resource and Training Services has submitted their list of courses for 2015. These are all online courses. They've all been previously approved by the commission, and I would prefer not to read them into the record.
Okay, that'll be fine.
PIeducation.com is another approved provider. They have submitted Conducting Identity Theft and Investigations. It's a 12-hour course. Tennessee Association of Professional Process Servers, their 2015 annual convention is Saturday, April the 18th. It's a 6-hour course. The Tennessee Polygraph Association seminar is being held in Pigeon Forge, April 13th through the 16th, 2015. And the Tennessee Professional Investigators Association 2015 Education Conference is Saturday, March 4th, 2015 in Knoxville. And that is your list of courses that were reviewed for this meeting.
Is there a motion?
Did the board accept it? I mean,
Recommended they all be approved. We found no problems.
I make a motion that we accept the committee's
A motion by Commissioner Flair,
Second.
second by Commissioner Valentine. Do we have any questions? Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda, we have unfinished business. Do we have any unfinished business?
Madam Chair. Any additional
Next, new business. Do we have any new business? Okay.
May the 15th, I think. Pretty sure.
Okay, at this point, we now have continuing education participation form. Did anyone sign up for that?
I haven't seen anybody fill out a form.
Okay.
Out a form. Got asked to.
Well, there being no further business, I'll ask for a motion for adjournment of this
So moved.
February the 27th meeting.
And I'll
moved.
second.
I'll make a
Motion by Commissioner Horton. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Jones.
Who made that motion?
Commissioner Horton and Commissioner Jones.
I was going to, but they beat me.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We are now adjourned.
Are we going to Monell's? That's the main thing. Minnie?
Yes, absolutely.
I gotta send
I
Lauren
got
a
meetings
text.
I gotta run to.
You can't go?
No, I got.
I've got
You
to
go
go,
on
I got
else?
to be down in court, Hardin County.
Just do what I see. Good to see you.
I'd love to, trust me.